now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be measuring her blood pressure. I've got a digital device for this. You can see it over here. Right. So what I'm going to want you to do is give me your right hand. You're going to put the device about 1 centimeter below the crease of the wrist. Once I press power, what I want you to do is you put your right hand on your shoulder. I want you to cradle your right hand with your left hand. Okay? First you're going to feel a squeeze, it's going to be tightening. And then once it releases the second time, those readings will be done and you can show me what the reading is. Right? Okay. Cradle down. Right, so basically just tell you what the norm is. So the norm is 120/80. This is our second reading that we're going to be doing. Amy has told me that she has got low blood pressure and she's been diagnosed from a young age with low blood pressure. So her first reading was, I think, 95/60. So I wanted to just double check and make sure that everything's alright and that there wasn't something wrong with the device. Okay, so now it is 98/63. Backwards, but 98/63. Okay, so there are a couple of things that you need to know with low blood pressure. So, as you said, you eat a lot of salt, which is good. You also need to not drink as much alcoholic beverages and make sure to drink enough fluids on a hot day. The thing that we're going to be measuring is Amy's BMI. The way in which we're going to do that is we're going to need her weight reading in kilograms, as well as her height in centimeters. So Amy, do you want to stand up for me? Okay, so first I'm going to show you the device that we'll be using. Right, Amy, do you want to step on the device for me? So you can see her weight is 49.8. So now after measuring Amy's weight in kilograms, she was 49.9. We're now going to measure her height. We're not going to be doing it in this room, so I'm going to tell Amy what it is that she needs to do now and what the protocols basically for measuring the height correctly, and then we're going to move to another room and measure it. So you're pretty much set, your shoes are off, you're not wearing any baggy clothing, so what you're going to want to do is when we get into the room, you're going to put your heels up against the wall, and you're going to just elongate your spine and stand up. Right, so stand nice and straight. Heels up against the wall, good. Alright, and walk away. Okay. 162 centimeters. Previously, I said that your BMI will be used in the height measuring in centimeters. Actually, we'll be measuring in meters. So now what we have to do is the calculation. So what we're going to do is we're going to take your weight in kilograms, divide that by your height in meters, and divide it again. So it would actually be your height in meters squared. Okay, so your kilograms is 49.9. We divide that by 1.62, divide it again by 1.62, and we get 90.01. So the next measurement that we're going to be doing is Amy's waist and hip ratio. So the way in which we do this is for the waist, we take it at the smallest, so Amy, if you'd like to stand up for me. For the waist, we'll take it at the smallest point, around here, and for the hips, we'll take it at the largest point, around here. Okay. Right, 63.5. Now that we have Amy's numbers for her hip and waist measurements, we now have to do the calculation. So the calculation is essentially, because it's your hip to waist ratio, it's just going to be your waist measurement divided by your hip measurement. So Amy, your hip to waist ratio is 76. 0.76. So for a female your age, ranging in between the ages of, I think it is 20 to 29, you're in the moderate category. So that's perfect. So after doing the measurement, Amy asked me what actually the moderate category is. I explained to her that moderate is just essentially another way of just saying that she's in the average category. And she's also wondering what the implications of being in a low or high category would be. And essentially a lower category would be, as a woman, you'd be slightly less curvy. You'd have more of the same ratio. So for you, basically, if it were going lower, your hips might shrink a little bit and your waist might come up a little bit. And if you had to go higher, all it would be saying is that you're more curvy in a sense. So if you're higher, it means that the difference between the thickness of your waist and the thickness of your hips would be far, far less. So the next assessment we're going to be doing is the postural assessment. Now, the postural assessment, I like to make use of a document that was supplied to us by HFPA, which essentially we're going to be measuring or checking the posture of your head, shoulders, hips, neck, lower back, and basically your feet. So what we'll be doing is we'll be getting a rating out of good, fair, or poor. So it'll be out of 10, good being 10, fair being 5, and poor being 0. After that, I will add up your score, and that's how we'll define whether you have a good posture or not. Once that's done, we'll be able to make some sort of observations, and if there is anything out of alignment or anything wrong, I can suggest things to Amy that will help her fix it. Alright. For the postural assessment, I'm going to be moving these chairs. So Amy, what I'm going to want you to do is I'm going to want you to stand up for me. Once I move the chairs back, just face with your back up against the wall. First, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to ask you to just stand with the back against the wall and give about 5 seconds, and you're going to be doing a quarter turn each time. Okay, so that's just so that you can see. And then what I'll do is I'll start doing my assessment, because I think that in order to do the assessment, I will most likely block the camera. So I first want to get the full 360 view of it, and then I'll do my assessment, and then afterwards we'll chat about what I find. Right. So just stand up for me. Thank you. Okay, just stand there for me. And quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. And one last time, quarter turn to the right. So previously I said that I'd be doing the postural analysis while on camera. I found it to be a little bit redundant because I was in front of the camera the whole time. So I did do a postural analysis off of camera after showing you Amy's posture through the camera. And this is your scores here. So for your head posture, your head was very centered, and I gave you a good, so a 10 out of 10 for that. Then for your shoulders were also very good, but the one right hand side was slightly higher. So I gave you an 8 for that. Your hips, to my eye, seem to be slightly, the left hand side slightly higher, but very, very slightly. So I gave you a 9 for that. Then the problems came in with your neck and your lower back. So your neck sits a little bit too far forward. So I gave you a 5 for that. And then for your lower back, I also gave you a 5, as your hips are slightly rotated forward. Okay. And after having a look at your shoes, from what I could see, there was very even wear, so I gave you a good for that too. Alright, so adding up Amy's scores, for her head, she received 10. So that's 10, 18, 27, 37, 47. Alright, so you are sitting in the good range, or the upper limit of the good range. So good, the ranges range from 0 to 9 is extremely poor, 10 to 19 very poor, 20 to 29 poor, 30 to 39 in transition, 40 to 49 good, where you're sitting at 47, which is in the upper limit of that, so it's very good. and 50 to 59 is near optimal, and 60 is optimal. So you're sitting in a very good spot. Right. So the next thing that we're going to be assessing is flexibility. Now, the test that I'd like to use for this for you is the sit and reach test. The reason why is because the sit and reach test, it doesn't necessarily test back flexibility, it more tests hamstring flexibility. And Amy has subluxation, so she has very loose joints and is rather flexible in her hamstring, which could mean that she might be prone to injury. So as I read in the notes that it is actually, this stretch is perfect for somebody that could potentially be injured or may suffer higher risk or be at higher risk for suffering injuries in the hamstrings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you sit up against the wall. We're going to be placing your feet 25 to 30 centimeters apart. I'm going to put a yardstick in between your legs, putting 0 at your heels, and then what you're going to do is you're going to reach forward as far as you can while having both middle fingers on top of each other, and you're going to reach forward as far as you can, and I'm going to measure the most distal point, so the point furthest away from your body, and that will be your measurement. Right. So the 58 centimeter mark has to be right by your heels. Right. Yeah. Now I'm going to want you to reach forward like I told you. If you can, try and reach in line at a slightly, you don't have to put your hands on the ground, keep them at the same height as your toes. Okay. Middle fingers on top of one another. Thank you. Let's get something to measure this. Please keep going. Right. Come on. 9 centimeters. After conducting Amy's sit and reach test, we conducted it further 2 more times, and we came up with the result that she was, I think it was 9 centimeters over 38, so it was 47 centimeters. But in order to get that according to how the graph categorizes it, we need to get into inches. So let me get that quickly for you. Inches. Okay, so 47 centimeters, 18 inches. For a female between the ages of 18 and 25, you are in the 40th percentile. So that means that you are quite flexible. Slightly above average. Right, so the next assessment we're going to be doing is just purely a muscle endurance test, where simply I'm going to get you to just go down to the floor into a female push-up position, so on your knees. And then we need you to complete as many push-ups as you can in 1 minute. So a complete successful rep. In order to get that for a female, what I'm going to do is I'm going to need you to touch your chin on the ground. So you can touch your chin on the ground, and then you can push all the way back up to your starting position where your hands are shoulder width apart, and that will be 1 rep. Okay, don't worry about if you halfway through get tired, it doesn't matter. If you want to set yourself a goal, say do 3 reps, and then you know you need a rest, and then to get more. So don't try and tire yourself out as fast as you can. Alright, so can you get into the push-up position for me, please? Alright. Okay, I'll count for you, so you don't need to count. Ready? Set, go. 1, 2, 3, 3, good. 4. 5, good. 6. 7. 20 seconds left. 8. 9. 10 seconds left. 10. Good, good. Try and get one more if you can. 3, 2, 11. I'll give it to you. Okay, good. Well done. Alright, so the next assessment that we're going to be doing is the power assessment. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be throwing a 6 kilogram medicine ball basically as far as you can. Now, we have been told that basically what we're going to do is we're going to line you up in a line. Normally we mask it off with masking tape, and then we can make a perpendicular line from that masking tape as far as possible. Luckily though, in the gym that we're busy doing this at, there are markings on the floor where I can show you where to stand, and there are also perpendicular markings where we can measure off of, so we don't actually have to use the tape. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go fetch the medicine ball. We're going to go outside to the workspace, and yeah, then we're going to do the test, and then we'll come back here to discuss what that means. Alright, so Amy, walk up to the line. This is the line that we'll be using for the starting line, and that perpendicular line running across there is what we'll be using for measuring. Alright, whenever you're ready. Okay. So after doing your power medicine ball test with the 6 kilogram medicine ball, your first attempt, we did 2 attempts, and we're going to be taking the better of the 2. So your first attempt was 255 centimeters, and your second attempt was 260. So we're going to take the 260 for your result for this test. So now we're going to be testing your body fat. With body fat testing, there are multiple ways that you can do it. There's various points. So there's a 3-point test and a 6-point test. We're going to be doing the 6 just purely because more points means it's more accurate. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Amy stand up for me, and then I'm going to be measuring all of her points. In this short video, I'm not going to give the results. I'm going to give the results once we do a recap of everything, and when I'm providing her with information on how she can change and better due to this assessment. Cool. You mind standing up quick, please? I'm going to need you to put your high-waisted shorts slightly down. Good. Is your abdomen. So just so that you know, we always take the measurements on the right hand side. Okay. So 2 centimeters. Yes. That's just stand this way. Probably best. 2 centimeters. Next is your thigh. So please put your right leg up here for me. Yeah. And is it possible to do it on your left leg?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, so
Fine, just do this one and I'll just see if it's...
Right. So Amy actually has undergone an accident when she was in the trick where she got third-degree burns on her legs. So we're currently just discussing the best way to maneuver our way around it to get the right readings without making her uncomfortable in any way. Okay. Just try. Yeah, it seems to be. Is it okay? I'm only doing one reading on her leg just purely because I don't want to irritate her skin grafts any more than we already are. Okay, next is your tricep. So turn around for me. Face back, face. We're going to be doing the spreading again. More of a diagonal skin fold. Right. Face the wall for me, please. Is it at all possible for you to is it possible for you to take this off and just cover the front?
Yeah.
Could you do that, please?
Just
realize I need to try something on the wrong side. Once again. Turn to the side. This side, this one. Face the wall. I mean the. And just put your right leg up here. You go too short. Inside. So before we start this second part of the video, I would just like to say that last week when I was doing fitness testing with Amy, she got a migraine just because of the room that we were working in. There was no light and anything like that. So we had to stop midway through the fitness testing, but we did manage to get everything done except for the Rockport 1 mile test. So what I've done is Amy is currently busy doing the Rockport test. We've taken her heart rate, we've taken her heart rate, what her resting heart rate was, and now she's busy doing the test. And once she's done, then I'm going to come back to all of her tests, and we're going to give a quick review of what I found, what we're going to work on, and why we're doing the exercises that we'll be doing. How you doing?
Keep it going.
After last week, I explained while Amy was doing the Rockport mile test that she got a migraine, and I wanted to come back and touch on some of the fitness testing that we did. Although I did go back and re-watch the videos that we took last week just to make sure what I had explained and what I hadn't. So after watching the video, I realized that I explained things such as, so I've explained the blood pressure and where Amy's blood pressure was. I explained her BMI, the fact that she was in 19.01, which was in the normal range for her age. We explained and went through the hip to waist ratio, as well as explaining why and what the others, whether she had a higher or lower and what that meant. Then we did the reach test, and we did the postural test. Then the muscle endurance test I didn't get to touch on, and Amy managed to do 11 push-ups in the minute time frame. And after seeing the results, I've looked at the charts, and basically Amy's in the range of fair, where borderline with needs improvement. So needs improvement is 9 reps and fair ends at about 10 reps. So she's in the range of fair, but it is something that we're going to need to work on. And then the last thing that I didn't manage to touch on was body fat, and you would have seen that was the last video that we did, and soon after that she got hectic migraines and we weren't able to continue. So I wanted to quickly just touch on that and give you what the actual numbers were for each caliper measurement, so that you know what the detailed numbers are and you can see that the calculation has been done correctly. So when I measured her abdominal first. The caliper measurement was 14. Then I measured her thigh, which was 17.5. Triceps were 17, which we noticed that her limbs was where she carried most of her fat. Then her suprilium was 11, which kind of matches up with the abdomen in the fact that it's slightly less than the abdomen. Then the scapula was one of the lower ones, coming at 9, and the medial calf was 12. This resulted in plus minus 16%. I did redo the test and I did come to a similar number. I'm not sure. I don't think that she's in the 16%. I would put her more between 18 and 20, closer to the 20 range, just because that's where the fitness is. And she is a fit girl, but it's not the muscle fitness, but she does have the leanness. So the last thing that I have to report back on is the 1 mile Rockport test, which Amy started her resting heart rate at, it was 16 beats per 15 seconds, so it was 64 beats per minute. And when she finished, we measured again using 15 seconds, but she counted 24. So that resulted in a heart rate per minute of 96 beats. So it's quite a nice range, and it's not too much into where she's not unfit, and it's not too little to where it's going to be hard for her to improve. So it's a nice medium, and I'm sure on her next test she'll see decent improvements, which will continue helping her want to carry on training and do better, which is basically, as personal trainers, all we want. So now we're getting to the programming section of this video. The way that I'm going to be working these videos is that I'm going to ask Amy to do the first example of how she would normally do the exercise, and then I'm going to correct her and analyze what she's doing, correct her, and then show the new movement of once I've corrected her. Before we start, just for the sake of the time of the video, I think I should just tell you the exercises that I'll be doing and introduce them now, so that we can cut to clips without having to have breaks in between them where I have to explain everything. So the very first exercise that I'll be doing is a cardiovascular exercise, where I've chosen the assault bike, where we'll be doing a HIIT, 30 seconds on, 1 minute lower intensity. The upper body resistance exercise that I've chosen is for the back, and I've chosen cable rows. For our lower body resistance movement, I've chosen lunges. And for our core exercise, I chose plank, and for the PNF stretch, I chose the hamstring stretch. I've chosen all of these movements not because they may seem like they're a little bit simple, but you'll see in the video that I feel like I understand those movements very well and I can correct them. And in this video, I feel like you want me to get across the knowledge that I know, and these are the exercises that I've incorporated into Amy's workout or into her design program, not only because they're exercises that I know, but because I feel that they're true and tried exercises and they produce results, and I'm able to show her how to do those movements in the best possible way, which is only going to benefit her. So basically what I saw Amy was doing was that most of the time she's putting her weight over her, you can see in the video she's slightly off balance, her knees going over her toes, her back is slightly rounded, not necessarily rounded but then the back is not upright. And the reason why I think the problem could be is that she's doing a forward stepping lunge, which I did ask her to do, but I think that I should change this exercise to doing more of a backward stepping lunge, purely because what that will do is it will allow her to, it makes it a lot easier, there's a lot more of an understanding in the sense of that when people do squats, you don't tell them how to do a squat, you put a chair underneath them and you ask them to touch their bum on it. And in that same sense, I feel like doing a step backwards lunge is the perfect way to show somebody how to have a straight shin where their back is up straight, because it's a much easier position because moving forward is where your momentum is. So they use that momentum and they go forward, which results in them going like this and going over. We show that right this way. Which results in them moving their momentum and going over. Where when I do a step back lunge, I can see where I am, place my foot. Once you place your foot, drop your knee down to the floor. Drop your knee back up straight, chin up straight. Okay? Step back in place. Make sure that your foot is stable so you don't lose your balance. Then just all you have to do is drop your back knee down and up. Okay? Cool, sit. Good, well done. Perfect, well done. Keep going. I want to see 3 more each side. Alright, good. I'm going to correct you in that position. So, get back into that position. Right, what I want you to do is drop down here, hips up, but sink into your shoulders. There we go, much better. Hips there, straight, back up, slightly up here. And now I want you to pull your stomach into your belly button. Hips slightly down, sink into your shoulders, and suck into your core. Perfect. Well done. Right, you can stop there for me. Alright, so what I noticed was you were doing well in the fact that your legs were nice and bent, but you were still pulling too far, using momentum too much to try and get the weight up. So what you should rather do is to control it, keep your legs nice and bent, keep the muscle contracted as you come down, but as you come down, instead of keeping your back straight the whole time, what I want you to do is keep your lower back straight, but slightly roll out, and keep some movement in your back. What this will do is allow you to connect more with the muscles, as well as be able to for you to be able to engage that muscle. Okay? So this is what it will look like when you do it. 90. See, I'm not closed. Pausing at the top for 2 seconds. Forward. Open. Back up. Just past 90. Pause. Back down. Right. Perfect. Nice legs. The legs exercise, I'm not going to be making Amy do the 30 seconds of high intensity, 1 minute of low intensity, purely because the point of these videos is not to show her while she's doing the exercise, it's to explain that I understand why I'm doing it and how to do it correctly. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to show Amy how to set the bike up and why it's to be set like that, and what are some of the things that people may do in the gym that you may see which is incorrect. So Amy, you want to come in for me? So can you sit on this bike for me just so I can gauge your knee position? Keep that one right down to the bottom. Alright, so just don't bend it. Alright, you get off. Thank you. I'm going to lower it slightly. Up on. Show for the camera that this leg at the bottom. Showing you a natural position, not like you're standing on like a seat sitting on the. Is that? Can you bend your legs slightly? While you're sitting at the bottom of the boot. Okay. Is that you sitting in you bend? Okay. You see that's perfect. As you can see, her leg is slightly bent. So what it's going to do is it's going to be able to make her use not only her quads, but her hamstrings, her quads, and her glutes in every single stroke of the cycle. Now, what people often will do is they will have the seat too low. So you'll see people cycling with their knees up here, and it's a lot more difficult to cycle like that purely because it interacts more with your quad. Your quad is doing most of the work, and you'll feel that. You'll get a big pump in your leg, and it's not the most efficient way to cycle. So in doing the hip movements, rather than wasting effort on muscle endurance through your quads, rather set up the bike perfectly by having a slight bend in the leg. I think. Right, Enzo, you want to come down and fall on your back with me? Is that where you want? So what we're going to be doing now is I'm going to be demonstrating a PNF stretch. First I'm going to be doing it with myself. So I'm going to be doing the stretch for Amy, and then I'm also going to be showing a variation where she can do it herself with the band. The reason why I'm doing this for Amy specifically is that she has been complaining that her hamstrings have been tight. The first thing you want is to stay flat on the floor, toes pointing out. Okay, this leg, having this leg rest on my chest. Right, leg stretch. Good. Flat. Right. Breathe, get up. From the stop. Stop. That's fine. Hold 15 seconds. Okay, next what I want to show is that once we've rested and that she's stretched a little bit, that we will now be able to go slightly further, and I want her to hold for another 15 seconds. Okay? There you go. Okay, breathe out for me. Right. More. Hold there, 15 seconds. 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and that's done. Okay. Next, I'm going to show you how to do the exact same stretch, but now I'm going to be using band. So we're going to be using a medium to heavy resistance band, and exactly the same way that I was controlling Amy's leg and the stretch, now Amy will be in control of the stretch. So what you want to do is hook your band around your foot, lie back in the same way, keeping this leg stay on the floor, and lifting up and controlling the stretch from here. Okay. seconds. And like I said previously, I'd like you to drop it down, take 5 seconds rest, and do another 20 to 15 seconds just to make sure that your hamstring is loosening up, seeing as though you've said that it's becoming more and more tight. So that concludes my practical video submission for the HFPA NCIF course. I hope I was able to do all the knowledge and the practical and theoretical advice that I was given throughout the course justice. And I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and thank you very much.